Tonight on the News Hour, Tinubu declares state of emergency in River State, suspends Fubara, deputy governor, for 6 months. PDP acting chairman Damagum summons PDP leaders to emergency meeting over Wike's revocation order. Inflation shows relief, but living costs may not drop. And on the foreign scene, Israeli airstrike killed 400 as Hamas claims heavy losses. Hello, good evening and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin with the latest from Abuja's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared a state of emergency in River State, citing escalating political unrest and security threats. In a nationwide broadcast on Tuesday night, the president attributed the decision to growing instability in River State, including attacks on oil pipelines allegedly carried out by militants. He expressed concern that neither Governor Siminalayi Fubara nor his deputy had reached out to him during the crisis, leaving him with no choice but to intervene.
Fellow Nigerians, I feel greatly disturbed at the tone we have come to regarding the political crisis in Rivers State. Like many of you, I have watched with concern the development, with hope that the parties involved will allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope borne out without any solution to the crisis. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state. In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Advocate Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State.
Now, the declaration of a state of emergency in River State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu adds another chapter to Nigeria's history of emergency governance under civilian administrations. While often framed as a necessary measure to restore order, past instances reveal a pattern of political crisis, ethnic conflicts, and security breakdowns prompting such declarations. In 1962, Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa declared a state of emergency in the western region following a bitter power struggle with the Action Group. The internal conflict between party leader Chief Obafemi Awolowo and his deputy Samuel Akintola led to a violent clash and a legislative deadlock, forcing the federal government to dissolve the regional government and impose emergency rule. Fast forward to 2004, President Olusegun Obasanjo declared state of emergency in Plateau State due to escalating ethno-religious violence, particularly in Yelwa, where Christians and Muslim communities clashed in a brutal cycle of killings and reprisals. The violence, fueled by long-standing grievances over land ownership and political representation, led to thousands of deaths. In response, President Obasanjo at the time suspended Governor Joshua Darie and installed a military administrator for 6 months. 2 years later, in 2006, Ekiti State became the focus of another state of emergency when Obasanjo sacked Governor Ayodele Fayose over allegations of corruption and abuse of office. The impeachment process against Fayose was fraught with legal controversies, and Obasanjo's intervention saw the removal of both the governor and the state legislature, with a retired military officer appointed as administrator. Then in 2013, President Goodluck Jonathan declared emergency rule in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states as Boko Haram insurgents intensified their campaign of terror. The insurgency had spiraled out of control with widespread bombings, mass killings, and abductions of overwhelming local security forces. The emergency declaration granted the Nigerian military sweeping powers, including curfews, movement restrictions, and shutdown of the telecommunications in affected areas in an attempt to cripple the terrorist operations. Now, staying with this development, as an opposition leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a strong critic of state of emergency declarations, often arguing that they were politically motivated and ineffective in addressing security challenges. In 2013, when former President Goodluck Jonathan declared a state of emergency in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states due to the Boko Haram insurgency, Tinubu, as the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, criticized the move. He described it as a failure of leadership, arguing that Jonathan's government had ignored early warnings and allowed the insurgency to escalate. He warned that emergency rule should not be used as a tool for political suppression, especially in opposition-controlled states, and emphasized that a comprehensive security strategy rather than emergency declarations was needed to address the root causes of insecurity. Similarly, back in 2004, under President Olusegun Obasanjo, a state of emergency was declared in Plateau State, leading to the removal of Governor Joshua Darie from office due to violent ethnic clashes. Tinubu, who was then the governor of Lagos State, opposed the decision, arguing that it set a dangerous precedent for democracy. He maintained that elected officials should be held accountable through legal means, not by suspending democratic structures. Now, as president, Tinubu's decision to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State marks a shift from his past positions. Well, joining us now to get some more insight on this developing issue is Emmanuel Osemeka, a political affairs commentator, to help us unpack what has been a very interesting and intriguing development. Mr. Osemeka, as always, a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour. I'd like to just get your initial reaction to this development. What do you make of it?
Good evening, my dear brother Ibrahim. It's my pleasure to join you tonight. Okay, first off, quite disappointing that the president chose to travel this route. It's quite unfortunate, honestly, because the president cannot divorce himself from the happenings, the political commotion, chaos going on in River State between the governor Similai Fubara and the 27 lawmakers of River State supported or loyal to the FCT minister Nyesom Wike. So the president can be described as a dramatic persona, in this impasse. Unfortunately, history is repeating itself, but in a different way. The Nigerian president. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
The Nigerian president does not have the constitutional powers to suspend any governor or deputy governor of a state or even the state parliament. I'm not a lawyer, but according to the Nigerian constitution, the governor and the deputy governor can only be removed from office through specific procedures outlined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, such as impeachment by the State Assembly or permanent incapacitation.
Yeah, just for the records, Mr. Osebeka, if you can hear me, right? We're talking about constitutional provisions, and what we have on the screen is what's contained in the 1999 Constitution as amended, something that the president referenced in his nationwide broadcast, section 305, which provides that the president has the power. He may declare a state of emergency through an official proclamation, which is what the president did. And the grounds for declaration include war, invasion, or external aggression, breakdown of public order and safety, which I believe is what the president was alluding to when he talks about a breakdown of law and order and security concerns, which he said he has received, natural disasters or public health emergencies, political instability that threatens governance. But here's a question where many people seem to have polarizing viewpoints. He needs a National Assembly approval, and we're not quite sure how he got it, even though we understand that he was in a meeting, a closed-door meeting with the NSA and the leadership of the National Assembly from both the Senate and the Green Chamber. So constitutionally, regards to Section 305, he does have the power to declare a state of emergency, and by that extension, it means that the governor is under suspension, not impeached.
Let's situate it. If you carefully listen to what I said, the president does not have powers to suspend. I'm not saying he does not have powers to declare state of emergency. He does not. He has powers to declare state of emergency, which should be an extraordinary security measures put in place, just like you had in 2013 and upwardly with Yobe, Borno, and Adama. The governors were not suspended. Their deputies were not suspended. The parliament were not suspended. What you had was that there were sweeping powers given to the military to arrest and detain for questioning and for further investigation. But the elected officials remained in their seats. So what I said was that, yes, I'm not a lawyer. Lawyers will be able to explain this better. But constitutionally, the president cannot remove a state governor. Why? His powers are vested in him for federal-related issues. And he does not have powers over the governor, because the governors were elected just like him, just the way the Constitution, provides for him. The Constitution also provides for the governor. The president is not bigger than the governors. The governors are in their states, like the Constitution calls them subnationals. So the president is not their boss per se, and he does not have the constitutional power to remove an elected president, an elected governor, or an elected parliament. No, he doesn't. He can declare a state of emergency, based on the Section 305 of the Constitution. But now let me take you back to January 15 in year 2000. When there was a political clash, when there were violent clash between Odua People's Congress and the Nigerian police in Lagos State. Remember, President Olusegun Obasanjo at the time, on January 15, wrote the then governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is our president today, and told him to take care of that security situation, or the president Obasanjo then warned him that he would declare a state of emergency. What was Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu's response as governor of Lagos State to Obasanjo. Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu wrote President Obasanjo in 2000 and said to Obasanjo that he should not blame the governor for the crisis in Lagos between the police and the Odua People's Congress, because no governor has powers over the police. The governors cannot control the police, except the president can allow for an amendment for the governors to have police that they control, so they can control the security challenges in their various states. The letter is out there. You can look for it. This was Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu's response as governor of Lagos State. So the reality is that why didn't President Tinubu write Fubara to say, take care of this XYZ, asking the security agencies in Rivers State to work with Fubara to ensure that they curtail the incessant attacks to the Nigeria's economic pipes and all that. But unfortunately, because he's a dramatic person, unfortunately, you've seen how it went.
Yeah. Explain what you mean by that. Are you saying that the president is politically motivated to go down this route? Because he clearly seems to hold the governor of Rivers State, who has been suspended now, Siminalayi Fubara, responsible for the instability that the state has been experiencing over the past 10 or so months since the rift began between him and his predecessor, who serves in the Tinubu administration as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Do you think the president is as neutral as he's supposed to be in trying to adjudicate or perhaps take control of the situation?
In my personal view, based off of what has come out of this whole impasse, the statement that have come out from the president, starting from when that political agreement was made, that political agreement was tilted to one side and more or less forced the hand of Governor Sim Fubara. And of course, you recall that Sim Fubara respected that political solution by withdrawing the court cases. Unfortunately for Sim, the other side refused to withdraw their cases, and it is the same case that went all the way to Supreme Court and we got this judgment. This judgment came because the court considered Governor Sim's withdrawal of his case as abandoning the case. Therefore, the judgment went against him. That's one side. If you look at when the Pandef visited the president had had no word for the 27 lawmakers, nor even Nyesom Wike, who is an employee of the president. But everything the president had to say was against Sim Fubara. Then today, when he declared the state of emergency, the president had no single word for these 27 lawmakers who have refused overtures from Governor Sim, and no word for Minister Wike, who had a lot to say about certain ethnic nationalities, individuals, leaders of thoughts. The president had nothing to say. Recall, sir, when the immediate past local government election in Rivers State, which was cancelled by the Supreme Court judgment, took place. Recall that men who were loyal to Nyesom Wike burnt local government secretariat. Why didn't the president declare state of emergency at the time? Why is it now? It is very unfortunate. The handwriting is on the wall. Everybody can see it clearly. And I see no reason why the president cannot pick up his phone and call the governor and say, Mr. Governor, what is going on in your state? Why can't you take care of what is going on in your state?
Right.
What are the challenges you're having? How do I help you? But no, the only solution is to declare state of emergency. However, it is within the right of the president to declare state of emergency. Governor Sim Fubara has his own problems, has his own challenges, has his own shortcomings. He also fueled the whole impasse. There's no winner among the both sides behaved irresponsibly. Both Sim, 27 lawmakers, and worse off Nyesom Wike. But the truth is that the president should have done much better. He has not behaved as a neutral party in this whole case, in my view.
You're saying there's no winner. Seems to me like the FCT minister will be quite happy with the outcome so far.
Unfortunately, Whether he's happy or not, it is very unfortunate. The reality is that, first off, the Supreme Court judgment says that Rivers State should not get allocation until budget presentation. Now, will the Rivers State will the administrator get the allocation of Rivers State government? That's a question that we need to ask. That's one. Two, the fact that that judgment came against Rivers State meant that the security men who earn minimum wage cannot get salary to send their children to school, and they will not have money to eat. Drivers at the state government and local government will be unable to get salaries. So today, the president has suspended all of them. So the issue now is, yes, of course, I want to believe that his excuse is that they want to be able to bring peace, which is good. Wike has not won. Sim has not won. The 27 lawmakers have not won. All of them have been kicked out of government for now, pending when they're able, their heads can calm down and sit like gentlemen and decide how they will move forward politically. Because the reality is that they were behaving like children. They have refused for governance to happen in Rivers State. All of them, right, without exception.
Right. Okay. As we like
so we see how it pans out as we progress. Let's see what happens at National Assembly tomorrow.
All right. The next couple of weeks or months, perhaps 6 months, would be quite telling about the future of Rivers State. Beyond just the politics of it, lives are at stake, especially with some of those protests and concerns by different ethnic groups in the state, should this particular type of situation happen. Mr. Emmanuel Osemeka, as always, a pleasure. Thank you so much for the analysis. We appreciate your insight on the news hour.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
Moving on, another massive explosion has struck a pipeline manifold in the Onwa-Riwa axis of Ogba-Egbema-Ndoni local government area of River State. The incident occurred on Tuesday, just hours after a similar blast shook the Trans-Niger pipeline operated by Shell in Bodo, Gokana local government area of the state. The latest explosion reportedly erupted at a manifold linked to a federal pipeline deep in the forest. The affected pipeline transports crude oil to Brass in Bayelsa State. Although official confirmation is still pending, community sources describe seeing massive flames and thick black smoke rising from the site. When contacted, the spokesperson for the River State Police Command, Grace Eringe Koko, said she would verify the incident but had not provided any response as at the time of filing this report. Away from River State, the National Working Committee of the main opposition People's Democratic Party convened an emergency meeting on Tuesday following the revocation of its permanent headquarters land in Abuja's Central Business District. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike ordered the revocation over the party's failure to pay ground rent. The notice dated March 13, 2025, was issued by the Director of Land Administration, Chijuke Nwakwoze, who cited PDP's non-payment of annual ground rent from January 1st, 2006 to January 1st, 2025. In response, PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Olugbunagba condemned the action as a, quote, drive towards totalitarianism and an attempt to stifle opposition. It revealed that the order also targets both the party's temporary and permanent offices, describing it as a direct threat to Nigeria's democracy. Now, Nigeria's inflation landscape has undergone a major shift following the National Bureau of Statistics' recent rebasing of the Consumer Price Index. The update, which moves the base year from 2009 to 2024, also expands the number of tracked product varieties from 740 to 934, aligning with the 2018 classification of individual consumption. While many agree the rebasing was long overdue given changing consumption patterns over the last 15 years, questions remain about its impact. Though it could result in a statistical reduction in inflationary pressures, skepticism persists over whether consumer prices will truly come down. Here's Trust TV's Yusuf Akogo with details of the story.
The Consumer Price Index (CPI) rebasing last month by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) resulted in the decline of the headline inflation rate in Nigeria to 24.48% in January from 38.80% in December 2024. Food inflation, a key driver of headline inflation last year, also saw a rate reduction to 26.08% from 39.84%. By doing so, NBS implemented a rebasing of the CPI, adjusting the price reference period from 2009 to 2024 and the weight reference period to 2023. Inflation numbers, however, moderated to 23.18% in February, indicating 1.30% reduction over January figures. But there is a twist in the tale. NBS is conceding that changing the base year does not translate to automatic crash in prices of goods and services.
But when you say, does it mean that prices of goods and services in the market has come down? That is not what this figure is saying. This one is talking about the rate by which the prices are coming down.
Experts are hopeful that the move will attract foreign direct investment, but the reality is that while the lower inflation figures offer some relief, the cost of living remains high and the impact of inflation continues to be felt across various sectors.
This has indicated to us that yes, there's still price increases in the economy, but the rate at which they're increasing is slower.
We have energy having problem. You are going to have problem in transportation, problem of feeding, and coupled with it, we now have forex problem. So it's a double jeopardy for Nigeria.
Nigerians who are faced with high cost of living on daily basis are of the opinion that the new methodology deployed by NBS to calculate inflation numbers is not having impact on prices.
People should not be giving government false information. We are in the market and we know that things are very, very high. So we pray that the authorities will hear us and do the needful.
Everything is increasing. Everything is increasing. No one is coming there. No one. Even that is both that we are seeing here now. 3,200 naira. Which normally before they do say it's 10 naira, 20 naira. Now they are saying 3,200 naira.
As at the moment, there is food in the market. The raw materials are there, the food is there, but one thing is that there is no money in circulation. People want to buy what they see, but they don't have money.
Some analysts believe that the effectiveness of government policies, including monetary policy tightening by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and fiscal interventions aimed at stabilizing prices, will be crucial in the coming days in determining future inflation trends. Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
Demand and supply shift during Ramadan as seasonal needs influence purchasing patterns, particularly among Muslim faithful, has been heavily recorded. While some businesses are experiencing a boom, others are struggling with low patronage. In Kaduna, our correspondent Bello Musa finds that many business owners are adjusting to the seasonal impact, but the soaring cost of living continues to take a toll on trade and household spending. His report.
Needs and consumption change during the month of Ramadan as people shift to items they need for fasting. This has a significant impact on traders, with many counting gains and others on the flip side. Yes, we are recording higher patronage this Ramadan compared to the previous year, although prices have surged. The pattern of sales is different during Ramadan. Most of our customers come in the morning to buy medicines, which is why we open early.
You came to market, basically the price of fruit today is very high.
Yusuf Munkailu is a shoemaker. He says patronage is appreciable, but the cost of living has impacted their trade. We thank God because we are getting patronage, but I preferred last year where we recorded a higher turnout of customers. It is a total scramble here for the photographers, as people's patronage has shifted to other commodities needed for the Ramadan period. You know, people used to come to us for pleasure, but now they have shifted their focus to necessities. Besides, many people don't like taking photographs during fasting because they tend to lose weight. For the Ramadan period, some business owners have diversified to items that can quickly be sold. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
You're watching the news on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, 900-year-old Kurmi market in Kano poised for revival as cultural traditions continue. More on this and many more stories up ahead in just a moment. Join us again. Welcome back to the news. Thank you most kindly for staying with us. Let's take a look at our recap for the top stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declares a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspending Governor Fubara and his deputy for 6 months. Damagum summons PDP leadership to emergency meeting over Wike's revocation order. Justice Yetunde Pinero of the Ikeja High Court has reserved judgment in the suit filed by reinstated Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, challenging the legality of his initial removal. After hearing no fewer than 15 preliminary applications from the respondents, the judge announced that the judgment date would be communicated in due course. Obasa's ouster was based on allegations of fraud, high-handedness, abuse of office and gross misconduct, which he now seeks to overturn in a court. Respondents in the suit include the State Assembly members and former Speaker Monjishola Miranda. Kurmi Market in Kano State holds a unique place in history, renowned for its deep cultural significance and centuries-old legacy. However, traders at the market say the market is struggling with deteriorating infrastructure and a lack of modern facilities limiting its appeal. They believe that with improvements, Kurmi Market could become a prime destination, especially for antique lovers and tourists seeking a glimpse of its rich past. Here's the report.
In the heart of Kano, one of Nigeria's most historic and culturally rich cities, lies this market, a place that has witnessed centuries of trade and tradition. However, traders here believe that despite its rich history, the full potential of this market as a prime destination for antique buyers remains untapped. This market is one of the oldest markets even in Africa. It has been a center of trade. We have treasures here, both the tangible and cultural treasures, but the lack of modern facilities and proper infrastructure is holding us back. We are talking to the government to cooperate with us to explore new options that will bring more tourists and antique buyers here to experience what this Kurmi market has to offer. An antique dealer who has been in the business for several years shows us items dating back to nearly 2 centuries. These items, some nearly 150 years old and even 200 years old, are still available here in Kurmi Market. But many people don't know where to find them or that they even exist. If the market were better promoted and more infrastructure put in place, I believe there would be greater interest in what we have to offer here in the market. So people are looking for unique items, and Kurmi Market has them.
I'm an art director and a production designer, and I'm here to buy a few things because I have a production that I'm doing that has to do with a northern family. So I'm trying to embellish it with the right elements that speak to the culture of the north.
Uche's decision to come to Kurmi Market highlights the growing interest in authentic, historical, rich places. But without the right investment and development, this potential remains dormant. If the government can give us the right support and investment in infrastructure, Kurumi Market can become a global destination. We have the history, the culture, and the craftsmanship, so it's just a little help that we need to shine. With the right investment and infrastructure, the market will continue to be a bustling hub for antique buyers from across the country and beyond. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, to ensure smooth claim settlements, especially for vehicle insurance, experts highlight the need to choose reputable insurers and fully understand policy details. They emphasize that this knowledge is crucial for securing rightful compensation when accidents occur. Victoria Tokolo's report is presented from our studio.
Vehicle owners in Lagos are demanding stronger enforcement of insurance claim settlements by the National Insurance Commission (NICOM) and the Nigerian Police Force (NPF), particularly for third-party insurance. They also call for enhanced training for law enforcement, specifically regarding the distinction between third-party and comprehensive insurance coverage. Motorists believe that improved enforcement of claim payments will boost public trust in the Nigerian insurance sector. Insurance broker Gbenga Oniboyikun highlights the necessity for policyholders to fully comprehend their insurance coverage.
So when they have accident and damage to their own vehicle, the insurance company will take care of the third party and reject their own claim on their vehicle. Or some may not even involve third party. It may be a lone accident. We call it own damage. So, and they will now come up with a third party certificate. So no, it's not, your vehicle is not covered. It only covers third party.
Vehicle owners also stress the need for police officers to be well versed in insurance policies, particularly the differences between third party and comprehensive coverage.
What to pay to get that certificate is the premium. That premium we are paying, does it have any positive impacts on the about the payment we are making to have that insurance paper? No, it doesn't have, because it's not effective at all.
Other guy who said that they've been having a third-party insurance, of which the third-party insurance does not really. I don't think they really abide by the rules that are set out for them. Most people, most of the time, end up going to repair their vehicles.
Onibokun further advises policyholders to engage with licensed and reputable insurance companies or brokers, even as he reiterates the importance of understanding policy details, especially for motor insurance, to facilitate efficient claim settlement.
The information there, the insurance company do not have the information or details in their record, so they can't pay for what they did not give. So that is my advice to the public: patronize the professionals, the brokers, or you go directly to the underwriters. But it is better you go through a broker who will give you education as far as insurance is concerned.
To secure successful claim settlements, policyholders must partner with genuine insurance companies and possess a comprehensive understanding of their chosen policy. This proactive approach will significantly enhance the likelihood of receiving due compensation when claims are filed.
In other news, the Oyo-Osun Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has warned about the rising use of registered haulage and freight companies to transport illegal goods across the country. To curb this trend, Customs Controller Joseph Adelaja has urged haulage company owners to install technological devices to track the operations of their vehicles. He used this advice in Ibadan while showcasing recent seizures by the Nigerian Customs.
Since his assumption of office as the area controller for the Oyo-Osun Command, Adelaja said the leadership has remained committed to Nigeria Customs Service mandate of revenue generation, facilitation of legitimate trade, and the suppression of smuggling.
Of 50 kgs,
the customs leadership said through the support of relevant stakeholders,
it has been able to accomplish yet another milestone, such as the seizure of items suspected to be cannabis sativa, used shoes and tires, refrigerators, and air conditioning compressors with a duty-paid value of over 468 million naira.
This achievement was made possible through effective intelligence sharing by the Customs Intelligence Unit, the Customs Police Unit, and the unwavering support of relevant stakeholders who collaborated with the command to accomplish yet another milestone.
The command is also worried about the activities of registered haulage companies who engage company vehicles to transport illegal products across the country. To this end, it wants owners of vehicles to leverage technology to checkmate this negative trend.
The companies have little thing to do because technology has gone so far. I would advise all these big companies like Dangote to deploy the service of a tracker in their vehicles so that from time to time they will be able to track their vehicles, know their location and what they are doing at any point in time. It's very important. This will save them from a lot of embarrassment, a lot of stress.
The customs leadership here says it will continue to beam its searchlight on the activities of saboteurs whose actions are detrimental to Nigeria's economic growth and called for more public support to rid the streets of contraband items.
The Nigerian Senate has set up a 9-member ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged illegal annexation of Nigerian territory by neighboring Cameroon. This decision follows a motion sponsored by Senator Anekan Bassi, who represents Akwa Ibom North Senatorial District. Here's the report.
In the motion, Senator Bassi highlighted the loss of 16 ancestral communities and 2,560 oil wells in Akwa Ibom State due to a 2002 World Court judgment.
Waters and oil constitute a breach of international laws, an affront of Nigeria's territorial integrity, and unlawful exploitation of Nigeria's economic resources, as well as a national embarrassment.
The motion also highlighted that the illegal annexation violates multiple international agreements, with lawmakers advocating for a review of the ICJ judgment and calling for the matter to be reported to the United Nations Convention.
There was a report today, very historical, that there was a violation of nautical miles and the sovereignty of Nigeria. This can bring environmental disaster, it can affect revenue, it can cause economic problem, it can cause security damage.
Other lawmakers also expressed dismay over the implementation of the ICJ judgment, describing it as one-sided and called for a total review.
The Nigerian government must still show itself as a responsible state power to protect the interests of the communities and the people in Akwa Ibom and across River State, to take up those issues with international bodies and specifically with the government of Cameroon. It's about Nigeria. It's about our own people, that we have not gone this far to protect the interests of our people. Does not, for me, surprise me, because we have not treated our people with all dignity that they deserve. Not maltreated in their own land. Foreign countries coming in, over crossing its boundary, coming to our own nation to maltreat our people. This cannot be accepted.
The lawmakers thereafter mandated Senator Jimo Ibrahim-led ad hoc committee to urge President Bola Tinubu to take immediate steps to safeguard Nigeria's territorial waters.
Our colleagues may wish to go further to even discuss with our Cameroonian counterparts on the implications of what they are doing, because we want to live in peace with our neighbors.
They also told the committee to inform the president of the need to secure over 2,560 oil wells identified within the disputed Mangrove Islands in Akwa Ibom State.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. We'll be back with more news in just a moment. Join us again. Well, let's bring you up to speed with developments on the international scene. Israel launched a wave of airstrikes across Gaza Strip earlier on Tuesday, saying it was hitting Hamas targets in its heaviest assault in the territory since a ceasefire took effect in January. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he ordered the airstrikes across the Gaza Strip earlier on Tuesday because of a lack of progress in talks to extend the ceasefire. The strikes have killed at least 400 Palestinians so far, according to hospital officials. White House says it was consulted by Israelis before resuming attacks against Hamas. Hamas warned that Israel's new airstrikes breached their ceasefire and put the fate of hostages in jeopardy. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on Tuesday called for the international community to, quote, compel Israel to end its aggression in Gaza after a wave of overnight Israeli strikes killed more than 400 people. The chief of the United Nations peacekeeping has called for an immediate halt to hostilities in the Democratic Republic of Congo as tensions rise between the M23 rebels and the DRC government, resulting in numerous civilian deaths and widespread displacements. In an interview in New York, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the UN Under-Secretary for Peace Operations, voiced serious concerns regarding the escalating violence in the DRC, emphasizing the potential for increased instability in the region and the severe humanitarian crisis that is developing in the country. Recent months have seen a surge in fighting between the DRC government and M23 forces, with the latter launching significant offenses and capturing subnational territories in the eastern provinces of North Kivu and South Kivu. Additionally, the Congo River Alliance, a political military faction allied with the M23, has set up a parallel provincial administration in these areas. Lacroix noted that while the M23 offensive may be proceeding at a slower pace, it still poses a risk of escalating violence and instability in the DRC and the surrounding region, potentially leading to a broader conflict. He stressed the urgent need to prevent such outcomes, as the humanitarian impact has already been severe. Staying with developments on the continent, Niger Republic on Monday announced its withdrawal from the International Organization of La Francophonie. The decision was revealed in a note from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs addressed to the country's diplomatic missions abroad. The note, signed by Secretary General Loali Labo, did not provide reasons for the move, but instructed heads of missions to inform their respective jurisdictions. Since the July 26, 2023 coup, relations between Niger and OIF have significantly deteriorated. In December, the Francophonie suspended Niger Republic from all its bodies, and shortly after, the new Nigerian authorities announced the suspension of all cooperation with the organization. Niger, a founding member of the Francophonie, may be followed by Burkina Faso, which has officially notified its withdrawal. Mali may also follow suit. All right, time now to bring you up to speed with the latest in sports. Here's Adeni Ajishafe with the latest.
Chukwuebuka Enekwechi and 8 other Nigerian athletes will represent Nigeria at the 2025 World Athletics Indoor Championship in Nanjing, China from 24th to 23rd March. According to the final entry list released by World Athletics, the Nigerian contingent includes shot put athletes Chukwuebuka Enekwechi, 400-meter runner Chidi Okeze, and NCAA Women's Indoor High Jump Champion Temitope Adesina. Others are African Indoor record holder in men's 400-meter Ezekiel Nathaniel, Paris Olympic finalist Pristina Ochonogo, Edidion Udo, James Owuka, Ifeanyi Ojeli, and Joshua Caleb. The athletes will compete in 5 events: high jump, long jump, 400-meter shot put, and men's 4x400-meter relay. A total of 576 athletes from 127 countries will participate in the three-day event. And in football, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has charged the Super Eagles to pick the maximum point against Rwanda and Zimbabwe in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. A communique issued at the end of NFF Executive Committee meeting held in Abuja. The NFF noted that adequate preparations have been put in place to ensure a successful outing of the team in the qualifiers. The Nigerian Football Federation also called on Nigerians to throw their support behind the men's senior national team in the upcoming 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Nigeria will confront Group C leaders Rwanda in Kigali on 24th March before taking on Zimbabwe's Warriors at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, 4 days later. The NFF charged well-meaning Nigerians to support and encourage the team to guarantee victory in both matches. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Abuja.
And that is it. You're up to date with the latest news stories of the day. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to stay in touch by following us across our social media platforms. You can also visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news, programs, and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time and good night.